The federal government has promised to dredge River Benue and construct additional drainage system to combat the menace of flooding being experienced in Benue State.
That's correct. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo made the promise on Wednesday while addressing the internally displaced persons at the international market camp in Makurdi. An environmentalist, John Ekoko, joins us now on the news to talk more about that in Benue State. Thank you very much indeed for coming. Right, Mr. President, beg your pardon, Vice President, of course, conveyed the President's message to the affected people there that the government is hoping to dredge the River Benue. That's good enough, isn't it?
Yeah, partly good, not sufficient. All over the world, there's a need to preserve wetlands. Those areas between the water body and the land where we stay, you know, like the swampy areas, they act as a sponge. What you see in Benue, which is a problem of Houston also, people have built sporadically all over the place. They have converted wetlands to living land. So they have totally obstructed, right, the regions that would have absorbed the water before it gets to upland. So as you dredge the river, don't forget, there's what you call a once in 500 years flood.
Okay.
It simply means a flood that will occur once in 500 times. It used to be so in the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
But today, we are beginning to doubt whether it's once in 500. Do you understand? The flood is becoming more common. When these floods occur, your water infrastructure cannot cope normally. You can have water rising by 20 feet, or sorry, 20 inches at once. Which type of system have you constructed that will do what absorb it?
So what you're saying now, just dredging the River Benue won't solve the problem.
It wouldn't.
Okay, but in Lokoja too is also facing this flood issue, like we understand.
Yeah.
And I know that a few years back, they said they were going to dredge the River Niger and Benue to avoid this kind of thing. So it just, I mean, underscores what the point you're trying to make now. If that was done and yet there's a flood, what can we do to have a permanent or mitigate the effect of flooding, really?
Thank you very much. That's what I'm really trying to say here. The plan of the 80s, the plan of the 90s cannot suffice for now. Because we are dealing with a more aggressive flood, a more common occurring flood than what we had before. Some time ago, I spoke to TVC. I said, the hurricane, the monsoon and the flood are much more intensive today because of the effect of climate change.
Of climate change, okay.
Because of the increase in the temperature of the water body. You know, as the wind gets to shore, normally because the water is colder than the land during the day.
Let's get to it because of time.
Okay.
What are
now
the solutions,
the issue
really?
is, dredge the river, fine. It will take care of the normal variations. But at the same time, build a wetland. The wetland is the sponge of the coast. That is the area that absorbs water when it leaves the river, the sea, and prevents it from going onto the land, the dwelling area. Very, very important. Number two, there's what you call the water infrastructure.
All right.
It is virtually zero. You saw the pictures. People building houses on wetlands. We're not talking about planting trees now that would have what? Kept the soil. So you'll find out that the struggle for existence, right? The pressure on the land made all sorts of illegal buildings.
What do you mean by water infrastructure? Because we understand that people build on wetland. That is illegal structure. We get that. So the water infrastructure.
Water infrastructure, normally there are water courses. You are expected to build walls, you know, to do what? Keep the water within the water course. You are supposed to clear the water part.
Drainage system.
Exactly.
Okay.
These things are not there, right? Even from the city, you are supposed to have a well laid out piping system. In fact, let's go back to the building regulations. We have not followed it.
All right.
And the height of it is this illegal. Look at the Benue issue. And I said, these things are common sense, they are ABC.
All right, now the government, there's a sense the people, you know, are complicit in this whole thing. But then what do you think the government needs to do in terms of advocacy? Because, you know, you have such cases here in Lagos as well, in other places, people building indiscriminately in water channels and all that. What role do you think that the government needs to do more here in terms of advocacy?
The government has always had a plan. There are building regulations that tells you either the approved building areas, that shows you water courses, that shows you, okay, the type of maybe walls, you know, the type of piping system. I know there was a time like in Festac, you had the storm water and wastewater, you know, running together. If it happens today, with this regularly occurring flood, there's a danger that what stormwater will go into sewage and the thing will spread to.
So these rules are there. Like,
they are there.
These rules and the plans for government are there. So why do people keep flouting it, and why is the government quiet until there is a disaster?
What happened was most societies do not prepare for disaster. It's like it's a wish that it will not happen. That's one. Secondly, these decisions are not popular political decisions. I can build a school that everybody will see, and I'll go and start building stormwater part. Are you with me? I'll start building wetland. You know, forest reserves came into America in time of Roosevelt, when these problems started occurring, but they were not as frequent then as they are now, because of the effect. And
sorry, we are going out now. We are signing out on this interview now, but we're talking about this.
What government can do?
Yeah, but the issue of Harvey came to my mind, and America, which is a well-planned, where people obey laws to an extent. So what gave?
That's why we are saying that Houston suffered, in fact, Texas and Houston. I've always said they emphasized economic prosperity. They waived the necessary building controls. Most of their plants were built in the 40s. The levees caved in. That's why Harvey went and came back again. Are you with me? In Nigeria today, dredge the river, fine. Build the wetland, fine. Then follow your building plan. Please don't build houses on water. Don't construct a road where water should pass.
All right.
Right?
All right, an environmentalist, John Ekoko. Always time is a dictator when you talk issues like this, but thank you very much indeed for coming to share your thoughts with us. We know that you know, these thoughts certainly will help you know, government and individuals
on
how to move forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.